Hi guys, this is FPL Tips, and we are back with our deadline stream for Gameweek 27. I hope you guys can hear me. So before we begin anything, just confirm me in the live chat if you guys can hear me clearly. Hi Varun, hi Ajat, hi Rishit. Just making sure that you guys can hear me. So if you can, please mention the live chat. Yeah, so we're good to go. Yeah, that's a commendable job of 73 points. I had 73 points too, and then I had a -4 hit too, so that makes it 69. Where it was good, a good game week. Rishit Sarangvi, well, captain picks. We have already posted a video regarding the captain picks. You can find the link in the description of this video and live stream. Although, to my priority, I would place Mane over everyone, and then maybe Mahrez, uh, maybe Marshall, and Jimenez. So, Rishit, that answers your question. Okay, I have a lot of things planned for the stream, so maybe we can just first start with all of that and then we can answer all of your questions. By that time, I guess more people will join us. Well, if not, it might really be their loss. Okay, first starting with my team, I have made two transfers this game week. Rashid has a question. Willian in starting 11. If you're talking about the Chelsea Willian, yes, he's gonna play. Chelsea do not have a lot of options. Uh, Ruben Loftus-Cheek might come in as a substitute. Tammy Abraham might just borderline pass, be fit to play. And N'Golo Kante is out for at least 2 or 3 weeks. So yes, Willian might mostly start against Tottenham Hotspur. Although we will be doing the live stream regarding only the league lineups if there are any league lineups just before the deadline tomorrow, if possible. So you might want to join us there on Instagram and then you might get some information on Chelsea's lineup. Coming back to the transfers I made two transfers this game week yet again. I transferred out Aurier and I transferred out Kevin De Bruyne for Mane and Bolly. I know it sounds a bit absurd. I personally am a really big fan of Kevin De Bruyne and I have had him almost all of the season. But I think it's time to remove him. Against Leicester is going to be a really tough fixture. It's going to be a tough and tight match. Leicester might want to improve defensively, so they might play a strong back four and might try to defend all of City's attack. And also the blank game week 28 has influenced me. So Kevin De Bruyne is out of my team. The next thing I really wanted to talk about is my blank game week plan. So as if you do not know till now that game week 28 is going to be a blank game week for Aston Villa, Sheffield United, Arsenal, and Manchester City. So if anyone out there is not knowing this information, we've made an ultimate guide, and the link to that video is also in the description. So if you do not know, please check that video out too. Varun, my starting defenders are going to be Gomez, Baldock, and Bolly. Hi Viraj. Uh, any leak lineups? Not yet, Viraj. There's around more than, I would say, 16 hours to the deadline, maybe even more. So the league lineups will be available only just before the deadline, which is going to be 5 p.m. tomorrow IST. So probably you might want to keep a check on the Instagram stories, and if there are any league lineups or any information, we will put them up on the Instagram story. Uh, Kun says, will Mahrez start? He was benched last game week for the entirety of a 90 minutes match. So I think Mahrez will start. I think Jesus will be benched. He had an awful game last time. He had around 5 or 6 open big chances to score, and he couldn't score even once. So I think Pep will bench Jesus. He's going to play Bernardo Silva Mahrez, and Kun Aguero. Unless he wishes to play Sane, but I don't think he's going to play Sane the way he said it in the press. Varun says remove Ali for Martial. It depends on if you've made any previous moves, then do not do that for a hit. If you're asking me for a natural direct swap for a free transfer, I would say it's a good move to go for Martial with his upcoming fixtures rather than go for Ali because I saw Tottenham's UCL match and they were pretty awful. Honestly, the only good player was Bergwijn, but I don't see Tottenham scoring a lot of goals. Kunt, I would request you to please talk in English because I am not that good in German. Uh, Varun says I have two free transfers, so yeah, Marshall for Ali could be a good move. Yadid says what to do with Mahrez. Should I hold him in game week 28 and wait for the possible double game week in 29? Okay, we also have a segment where we're going to talk about the double game week possibility in 29. So maybe I would just pass on that question for, I'd keep that question for later and I'll answer that. Don't worry. Varun says two free transfers, Calvert Lewin to Jimenez and Ali to Marshall. That's a perfect combo, I think. Uh, a lot of FPL pundits out there are saying that Ali might score, but I don't think so. I think Chelsea might keep it a maximum to one goal, maybe a lucky goal for Ali. But I don't see Tottenham winning it by a margin or even scoring a lot of goals in the upcoming matches. So yes, Ali out to Marshall seems like a good deal. Viraj says Aguero keep or sell. Viraj, I would like you to keep him for the next game week. Maybe sell him in game week 28 when he blanks. Kun says when will you do Insta face reveal? We'll do the Insta face reveal when we hit 10k followers. So that's a long way to go. Okay, so since we do not have any questions in the live chat, I'll be talking about the next point we were supposed to discuss on the live stream, which is my strategy for the blank game week. Well, in the upcoming blank game week, I'm going to remove Aubameyang and I'm going to possibly replace him with Vardy or Jimenez. Now uh, the thing with Vardy is that if he performs uh, well in the next match, then I might consider taking him. Otherwise, I would just move to Jimenez. Rishit Sarangvi says, any news for Lundstrom? With the Lundstrom issue is that Chris Wilder did praise him a lot in the press conference, but I think he might bench him again. He might not. Honestly, if you are a Lundstrom owner, I would like you to sell him for another Sheffield United defender. Maybe keep him for this week. Just take a risk, play him. If he plays well and good, because next week he's gonna blank, you can transfer him out for another Sheffield United defender if you want. So maybe just take a risk this game week. Otherwise, don't keep him for long because I don't think he's going to be starting a lot of fixtures ahead in the Premier League. Varun says everyone's sitting with triple Liverpool players. What if they beat Chelsea in the FA Cup? In that case scenario, Varun, I think Jurgen Klopp is not that serious about the FA Cup and he's not going to play a very strong lineup in the FA Cup fifth round. Well, if he plays a really strong lineup and if they beat Chelsea, so that just makes our job easier in selecting the free hit chip and when do you want to select the free hit chip. So if by chance Liverpool win that fixture, you have definitely three players starting in your game week 31. So that allows you to put up 11, which is strong enough, and you don't might not have to even use free hit. In that case, you get an allowance and possibility to use your free hit in game week 34, which is going to be a blank and a double game week for sure. Rishit, 1 second. I'm sub Grealish for Marshall. Well, Rishit, that's if you own Marshall, you might want to play him in your 11. He has a match against Watford. It's not going to be easy one, but it's a home fixture, so you might want to just play him instead of Grealish. But if you own Grealish, you might want to bench someone else who has a weaker fixture. Varun says 33 wildcard, 34 bench boost, and 37 free hit. Well, Varun, that's a nice strategy too. The only advice I would like to give you is that whenever you're using your wildcard and bench boost, use them in a combination. Make sure you use your wildcard just before your bench boost or a couple of game weeks before your bench boost, as that allows you to put playing 15 in your team so that you can make the maximum use of that bench boost chip. Virat says captain this week. Well, if you're talking about my captain pick, I'm going to tell it in the end of the video. And between Salah and Mane, I would say go for Mane. Coming back to the blank game week, now there's a possibility. There's an 85% possibility that Chelsea versus City is scheduled in game week 29, making it a double game week. But there's a very big problem between that fixture to be scheduled is that the only date possible for that rearrangement is when Liverpool play Atletico Madrid. Now this is a big issue because most TV channels sponsors do not want a big top six side match to clash on a UCL night. The only way 29 game week 29 is not double game week is if there is a clash of certain this sort and Man City do not get the TV schedule right. So that way even BT and Sky Sports will not want to the game to be postponed, and hence it might not be a double game week. So that's the only hindrance between game week 29 being a double game week or not. Any use for Traore? Rashid Traore played for around 61 minutes in the Europa Cup last night. He was fit. He did play nice. I would not say really good, but he was decent and he was subbed off. So I think he's going to start in the next match and should be fit and fine to game. Go ahead. Okay, before moving to the next segment, I would really ask you guys like what do you look in a player before you select him in your team? I really want to know your opinion and your side of thoughts because I have some points noted down, but what do you look at before taking any player into your team? So Varun says fixture, Virat says consistency, maybe you can put it as form, Virat. So these are two things that Varun and Viraj look at. Oisin, hi Oisin, it is good to have you back on the live stream. It's been long. Oisin says fixture and form both. Okay, so we're looking at a classic FPL trap that many FPL managers fall into. I would like to take the example of Vardy. Now, the case with Vardy is in the last 3 or 4 matches, he has only 5 shots on target, not even target. He has 5 shots in total. So now going by that, his form is really dropped. So, but his fixtures look appealing. Now, this is a trap which most FPL managers fall into when they look at the fixtures and go and transfer him in. But if he's not performing well, if he's not taking enough shots, if he's not in the box at the right time, I don't think even playing against a very easy side will help him scoring because he needs to get into those places to score those goals. Okay, now sometimes you need to not look fixtures over form, possibly because they tend to mislead you and misdirect you making transfers. Another thing that I want to tell you guys when you're looking out for players or putting them in your watch list is to look at the number of shots they've taken outside the box and in the box, and maybe shots on target as well. That essentially tells you that how involved a player is in a match and how involved in his is he is in the goal making process. So, for example, with Richarlison, the only reason I had taken Richarlison the game week before was that he had a nice couple of shots in the box. He was there around in that match, and he had decent scoring chances. So that's the reason I took that risk, and it paid off because he was there in those positions, and obviously, if he's there in those positions, he's most likely to score in those goals. Another factor that you should be looking at is team form. Now, suppose if a team is performing really poor, in case of Manchester United, maybe if they're performing really, really poor against the bottom half of the table, I don't think Martial's shot ratio or shots on target is going to be really helpful because he might not get those balls, he might not be involved in those plays because the team form itself is low. That's the case which is happening with Leicester. Leicester are not building up the game, they're not putting out a good performance overall in the pitch, which is overall resulting in Vardy's poor performance. So I think maybe apart from form and fixtures, you should look at the team form as well. Hi Darshit, uh, whom to start from these three, Rico, Webster, and Lundstrom? If you're asking me to start one, go ahead with Lundstrom. Maybe he might get a chance. Take a risk with. In case of Webster, he faces Sheffield United away, so I think they might just concede a goal or two. And with Rico, I don't. I think they face Burnley. I just checked it. They face Burnley, and Burnley seem to be in form. So yeah, unless if you want to change your mind, you could put in Rico instead of Lundstrom. But those are the two options for me. Okay, another underlying stat that I'm going to talk about is between Bolly and Sias. I think Wolves having a Wolves defender for the next couple of game weeks is going to be really beneficial. And if you're looking to transfer any defender, you might want to look it in the terms of a Wolves defender. Viraj says, is Jota a good differential? Viraj, I don't think Jota is a good differential. He performs exceptionally well in the Europa matches, but when it comes to the Premier League, I do not see him performing really good. He's there sometimes, but I really think that he lacks his performance in the Premier League, and I don't think you should just rush into transferring Jota this soon. Maybe Adama Traore in that price range. Joao Martino could be an option, and Jimenez is always there. Varun says your take on Marshall to Pepe in game week 29. Uh, Varun, I would like to really see how Arsenal perform against Everton. It depends on how they perform against Everton because Newcastle's defense has been awful all around the season. So scoring those crappy goals against Newcastle wasn't a big deal. If you see their match highlights, you would recognize that two or three goals of their were really scrappy because of really big defensive errors made by Newcastle, which is not going to be the case when they face Norwich or teams like Southampton and Brighton. So I think you might just want to wait and let him pass the eye test, and then maybe you can bring him into your team. Another differential player, if you're looking at Arsenal, could be Ozil. He has been playing amazing, and he could be real differential. Even Lacazette, because he has two goals in the last two matches, and he's really in form. Oisen says is triple Wolves good. Well, if you ask me if I have to triple someone, I would triple Liverpool. A double Wolves maybe really nice. Be it a defender attacker or defender midfielder or attacker midfielder, but a triple might be a bit risky. Richard says Ing professional preferential as captain. With Ings, the case is that now that Aston Villa have their main defenders back, Tyrone Mings, Karen Gills, I think, Aaron Gills, and one more guy. I don't remember his name unfortunately, but they have their main defenders back. With Ings, you could captain him, but I would not recommend. Maybe Jimenez is a more preferential captain than Ings. Otherwise, you might want to go for Mahrez or a Liverpool player. Even Marshall could act really good as a captain, but all of them are preferred over Ings. Darshit, what about Marshall captaincy? Yes, Marshall captaincy could prove really differential. It could be a mega differential if you talk about in terms of rank improvement. But I would not recommend Ings Rashid over Marshall, Jimenez, Mane, Salah, or Mahrez. Sorry, Fukurum. I do not really know how to pronounce your name, but should I captain Mane or Salah? If you ask me personally, I would suggest you to captain Mane. Good time to remove Dominic Calvert-Lewin with tough run for Jimenez. Varun says, is it a good time for remove Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Now the thing with Dominic Calvert-Lewin is that he is priced at 6.1, maybe 6.2. So he's not that an expensive player, and you don't expect him to score every week in, week out. So even if he scores every 2 or 3 weeks, that's a pretty decent return per million ratio. And so it's good. If you want to sell him, you could, at max, if you have to sell him next week. But moving to Jimenez from Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a good move. I think Jimenez will score because he's due to score anyways. I think it will come against Norwich. Yes, the front line Jimenez, Vardy, and Ings is perfect. Okay, coming back to Fuck you or mom says, hey bro, you from Malaysia? Your voice sounds like no, I'm not from Malaysia. Mate, I'm from India. Okay, coming back to the Sias and Bali comparison, I did make a move to Bali, but I did not look at the stats for Sias. And I think if you're looking for a Bulls defender, you might want to go for Sias. His price is 4.4. He has 6 touches in the penalty area, 5 attempts on goal, and 4 on target, and he has 6 tackles once. So it makes him a perfect goal scoring opportunity for him, and also an great contender for bonus points. Oisin says, I want to get Patricio, which is better, this game week or game week 29? If you want to get Patricio, get him this week. It wouldn't matter because I don't think Tottenham is going to score anyways a lot of goals. Bring him this week if you have a free transfer, and hopefully they keep a clean sheet against Norwich. Darshi says any defender captaincy picks. If you have to ask me, I would say Trent Alexander Arnold without a doubt. He is the best defender captaincy pick you could go to. Otherwise, all of the captaincy picks are risky. But I would still prefer Doherty because he has the most shots on target as a defender. Yes, it's perfectly fine if you have Kevin De Bruyne. It's my strategy that I've removed Kevin De Bruyne for the Leicester match and for the blank game week. You could have a different strategy and you could keep Kevin De Bruyne. But if you have Aguero and both Mahrez, then you might have to remove one of them to navigate through the blank game week, unless you're using free hit, which is not recommended. But you can, if you have a really strong bench, you can bench all of them and navigate through the game week easily. Okay, so we had to talk about underlying stats. I have 4 points that you guys should keep in mind maybe while checking and picking up players is that the number of shots they take on target and off target, and the number of shots they take in the box. Next is the expected goal index. It doesn't matter a lot, but it's just an helpful stat. Another important thing at this stage of the tournament is that how many minutes is that player playing in the other competitions, be it the Europa, be it the FA, be it the UCL. You have to look up the minutes the player is playing in other competitions. It's going to affect the Premier League teams a lot in the upcoming stages. Uh, Fukur mom says, who would you leave out? I would leave out Mahrez because he's most of a rotation risk under the Pep Red. Oisin says, who to look for game week 31? Oisin, I didn't get that question. If you could be a bit more particular, I could answer you better. Jared says, I have Cathcart. Should I sell him as I have to start him in game week 28? And if he plays in game week 31, don't have my free hit. Yachat, if he is a player who's going to play both 31 and 28, I don't think you should sell him. Maybe just bench him if he's not playing. But don't sell him if he's going to play all of those blank game weeks and you do not have a free hit, especially. Well, yes, if he's if you do not have that free hit, it's going to be a situation where you'll have to play a weaker defender. But the 2 pointer would should be good enough. and you never know, he might score a goal or give an assist anytime. So you might just want to play him. Okay, so as a lot of you guys have already asked me the big question of the stream, uh, who to captain, Salah or Mane? I have a certain stat you guys might be interested to listen in. Salah has got only two attacking returns this season against Norwich when Mane was benched, Arsenal when Mane played, Bournemouth when there was no Mane in the team, Watford when Mane played but Salah was up front, West Ham United where there was no Mane, and Southampton where there was no Mane. So it is the only game where against Arsenal when they were playing 4-3-3 and Salah had two attacking returns when Mane played. That certainly shows that Salah's performance or Salah's role changes when Mane is in the team. Another important factor I would tell you guys that Salah could potentially be benched. I'm not saying this out of fluke, but Salah could be potentially benched because Klopp did hint that he might change his team a bit, and Salah did play a full of 90 minutes in the UCL match. So you never know, he might get benched, play a certain amount of lesser minutes. And Mane was on the other hand subbed out at 45, I think, and Mane is fixed to start. So if it's between Salah and Mane, captain Mane, he's a differential pick too. So I would recommend you to captain Mane on basis of the stats and on basis of that differential thing too. In game week 31, who do you be looking at for the teams that do not blank? Well, Wolves is a certain contender, Oisin, and I'll have to look at the other fixtures. I do not have the list as of now, but if I could check, wait, I'll tell you. We know that Burnley versus Watford is also fixed. So if Chris Wood is back by then, you could look at Chris Wood. Then Norwich versus Everton or Tottenham versus West Ham could be fixed. So one of those players, Bournemouth, I don't think there's anyone from Bournemouth to look at. Wolves, yes, you could triple up a Wolves if you want to, and the rest entirely depends on how teams play and who gets knocked out. So as of now, on my watch list, if I had, I would have someone like Deulofeu or Dini, mostly Dini, and Chris Wood from Watford and Burnley. From Wolves, I would triple up on Wolves in terms of Adama Traore, Jimenez, and a defender in terms of Doherty or Bolly, and the rest depends on what fixtures come up. Darshit says Wadi captain. Darshit, I would not recommend that, but it could be a great differential. Honestly, if you ask me, if you ask my gut feeling, I would say that yes, Wadi, I think will bag a goal against City. That's my prediction for the week. If you have certain predictions and you think it's going to be a differential prediction, put it in the comments below. Let's see, and we'll announce the correct prediction on our stories on Instagram. So if you are looking to go very differentially, good captain Vardy, as not of many people will captain him, he might drop in price too. So go ahead, take up a bit of guts and captain him. Darshit says, can Greenwood start against Watford? I think he was injured a bit in the training session. I don't know if he's recovered or not, but I think Manchester United will play the same 11 and they would start McTominay instead of Matic. It says if Liverpool blanks in game week 31, should I wildcard in 32? And if they don't, should I save it for game week 36 and three Liverpool players? Yeah, just saving your wildcard for three Liverpool's players in game week 36 could be risky because by that time Liverpool might have won the league already and they might not play their strongest team and rotate a lot as Klopp has already said. So you might want to just use your wildcard a bit before that. Uh, Varun says prediction Wolves to flop against Norwich after a Europa match. Uh, Varun, I would not agree to that because I think Wolves were really easy and cruising in the Europa match, and they even benched some of their and substituted some of their main players like Adama Traore and Raul Jimenez. So I think Wolves will come up strong against Norwich. Maybe a 3-1 or 3-0 match could be out there. I think it's going to be 3-1 because I just took a Wolves defender. I've always jinxed such players. So yeah, I think it's going to be 3-1. I think I'm not going to get that Bali clean sheet, but I really hope that they keep that clean sheet and get those 6 points. Okay, coming up to the watch list, I have made a certain watch list and players you might be really interested and we would really like to talk about. So first on that list is Jamie Vardy. Now the scene with Jamie Vardy is that he has a great run of fixtures upcoming from Gameweek 28, but we only recommend him to keep him in your team or buy him only if he has a great game against City and you see him finding his form back. Now, when I say finding his form back, the number of possession he retains, the number of shots he takes, the number of shot on targets, and the number of goals he scores, or basic involvement. If you find that his performance has improved as compared to the last match, then you might want to buy him in game week 29, 28, sorry, and hold him for game week 28. Darshit says, how is Pedro? Neto will his place be taken by Jota? Darshit, I'm not that a big Wolves fan. I do not follow them keenly, but if you are considering buying any one of them, I would not recommend you that. I would just ask you to put a little bit of money out there and buy Jimenez, or just take up Traore as your midfielder. Oisin says, do you watch FPL FI? And if you do, you do at me when it happens? Oisin, yes, I do watch FPL FI. I tried at me when it happens a couple of times, but I've never succeeded. Maybe we guys could start our own at me when it happens, and you guys could tag me in the comments below, make your own predictions, and we could just post it on our Instagram page later. Next player we're going to talk about is Reece James. Uh, Chelsea have a great run of fixtures coming up. If I can show you them, yes, it's in terms of Abraham, but the fixtures they have from Game Week 28 is Bournemouth, Everton, Aston Villa, Man City, West Ham, Watford, Crystal, Sheffield, Norwich. Up till Game Week 37, they have a great run of fixtures coming up, and James Reese sort of seems to be nailed. He's around 4.5 or 6, I think. He's not that expensive, and he could really provide great attacking returns. If you see see the number of shots or the number of crosses he puts in the game, those are really commendable, and I think he could prove really differential in the upcoming game weeks. Dashit says, I have no bank for Jimenez. My front line consists of Vardy, Ings, and Greenwood. Dashit, if you want, you can post in your entire team in the live chat or DM us on Instagram at FPL tips underscore underscore. So maybe you could look at your team and suggest and recommend the best replacement or transfer for your team. Varun says James is 5 million. Well, 5 million is still a great price. If you look at Soyuncu or maybe Baldock, I think James is going to provide much more attacking returns in those game weeks than Soyuncu or Baldock in terms of attacking returns only. Whereas if you see clean sheets, I don't think Chelsea will provide a lot of clean sheets, but they might manage a couple of them too. Matthew says start Pope or McCarthy this week. Also, who to captain? Jimenez, Salah, Mane, Ings. I would start Pope in that case, and captain I would say Mane. Rashid says a tick mark to me. Rashid, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram as we post captain picks, injury updates, and much more information out there. And we also personalize transfer suggestions to your team. So you might want to follow us on Instagram too. Yes, Varun, thanks for allowing me to continue with the watch list. Next, obviously, we have Adama Traore and Jimenez. We have talked about these two players a lot in the recent game weeks, and I think these are perfect players to look out for with the fixtures they have ahead. There's not much to talk about them, but I think their form and their fixtures speak about them a lot. Next, we have Aubameyang from Arsenal. The only tricky part with Aubameyang is that his not his particular form, but the thing that lately he's been playing too much on the left wing, and Saka is also playing as an out of position midfielder for Arsenal. Now, the thing with that is Saka provides more number of crosses than feeding the ball into Aubameyang's feet. Also, Aubameyang is not playing that central as he used to when he was scoring those braces and goals and hat tricks. So that could really affect and not provide those many returns. His price is 10.7 or 10.8, and I think it's a good pick only if he starts getting into the box more and having more shots on target. If you see in the match against Newcastle, he didn't have more than 3 or 4 shots on target, out of which he scored a goal. So I think Aubameyang could be an option only if he starts playing a more central. Otherwise, I would not bring him into my team. I also plan to transfer him out next game week. So yeah, that's it with Aubameyang. The next big question, before we go to that, we'll answer Matthew's question, not related to FPL, but Chelsea's Spurs prediction. Which team do you support? Matthew, I support Chelsea. I'm a firm Chelsea supporter. And my prediction to that match is going to be 1-all. I think it's going to be a decent 1-all match. It's not going to be a high scoring match because Mourinho tends to play defensively against the top six sides, and Chelsea have really lacked in the attacks. They've not been able to convert those attacks and crosses, and with Tammy out and goal out, I think it's going to be a tough match for Chelsea. Yajat, coming to the triple game week, thanks for reminding me. Arsenal are not most likely to have a triple game week, but City are most likely to have a triple game week. I'm saying that because if game week 29 is not a double game week for City, the only option left for City is City's fixture, in fact, to get moved are in game week 37. That makes game week 37 for City a treble game week or a triple game week, and hence they could have three fixtures in that particular game week. Darshit says, can Tanganga start? Darshit, if you have been following us in the previous lives or on Instagram, Tanganga would start. He was a potential starter in the team, but with the injury update on Davis, he's back. Davis is fit, so I think Tanganga is not going to be an option recent in the recent times. Maybe later if Davis starts playing horrible, but in the recent times, I don't see Tanganga starting a lot. Matthew says he's a Spurs fan. Matthew, it's good to hear that. It's going to be a great match. Yes, it's going to be a top four deciding, massive top four deciding match. Hope the better team wins. It does. I hope it does not happen like it happened against Manchester United, where the VAR should have given different answers or maybe different opinions and different polls regarding certain things. But the VR results went against us, and we did lose the match because of that. But nevertheless, let's see how it goes against Spurs, and I hope Chelsea make it through the top four easily. Those price rises that you put on Instagram, are they going to happen? So if that I'm getting Jimenez, would you recommend getting him tonight and try to beat the price rise? I saying yes. I've recently put a post on Instagram saying that the potential price rise is tonight. So those recommend the price players which are going to rise tonight. So yes, I have not surely seen who's going to rise in price, but I think Jimenez was there into. So if you're planning to get in Jimenez, you might want to beat that price rise and get him tonight. Varun says if Game Week 37 is a triple game week for City, which players would you take considering the Pep roulette? Varun, I would take Kevin De Bruyne without a doubt. I would take a City defender, probably Ederson because he's the most fixture proof, and I might go to David Silva if he's fit because he's a player which will start most of the game weeks. Yes, Varun says all pressers over. Nuno, I think, had a presser tonight or tomorrow. Maybe it's scheduled, but nevertheless, he Jimenez is fit. There was some news floating around that he's injured, but I think he's fit. His minutes might get altered depending on the team, but that's not how Wolves plays usually. They tend to put up a strong lineup against each team, and they take each Premier League game really seriously. So Jimenez in your team, if you're planning to get him even for the future, get him tonight before the price rise. Matthew says, how many points did you get this game week? I scored 69 this game week, and my overall rank is around 300k. It dropped recently. It dropped till 400 and have recovered till 300. But we're aiming to get into the 50,000 slab and get into the top 1%. So yeah, that's the aim at the end of the season. It's going to be a decent run if we have to get into that top 1% slab. Yeah, it says, what do you think about the Trent captain this week? Uh, Jajat, I would say it's a very good differential captain. But if you look at Liverpool's performance, they have recently been leaky in the defense. Although they have been lucky, if you look at the Norwich game where the Norwich players messed up the pass to Pukki and they could have easily scored. But I think the Liverpool defense is a bit leaky. And I think there is a chance West Ham might score. Unless and if they do not score, I think Trent is a great option. If you look at the City game, Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva were putting in crosses again and again, minute and minute. And I think Trent is going to do the same. And West Ham will be bombarded by the crosses of Trent Alexander-Arnold. And I think he might get a cross, assist return, or a free kick and directly goal. Okay, guys, I'll have to block Fook your mom. I think he's been annoying quite a lot. So yeah, please give me a minute. I will have to complete this report. Yeah, okay. So the next point going into the last part of the watch list is that I really feel that the Salah captainship is a trap this game week. If you look at Salah's stats I discussed recently, he has not been up to the mark when Mane is playing alongside it, and I think Salah could be a big trap this game week. So if you guys are planning on to captain Salah, I would not recommend it. It's purely on basis on stat and gut feelings. So that's a very important point. I want to state it again if I have already discussed it. And one of the last parts of the watch list is the Sun replacements. Now, the Sun injury was a big blow to a lot of FPL managers, especially after his 13-point haul. A lot of managers even bought him in around 65,000, and around 200k managers sold him. Now, talking about the replacements, if you I would like to state some important replacements and some out of budget replacements if you ask me. Uh, Abhishek has a question. I have Jimenez, Vardy, and Salah, Marshall, Kevin De Bruyne, Grealish, Snodgrass, and Aurier, Trent, Sancho, Lundstrom, and one free transfer. Tell me you beat the replacement considering the blank game week. Abhishek, beat the replacement. I don't get what your question means, but if I have to remove someone, I would remove Aurier from that team and I would play Bolly. Or CS, you could play by CS. That allows you a lot of funds to upgrade Snodgrass to another player. Oisen says who to captain Salah, Ings, or Jimenez. Out of those three, probably Jimenez, but you can go for Salah and take a risk. Now, coming down to the Sun replacements, the out of budget replacement for Sun is Mane. Mane is one of the most out of budget replacement for Sun, but he could really be differential and prove a great rank increaser in the recent upcoming game weeks. Next, we have Bruno from Manchester United. Personally, I do not think Bruno is the best replacement for Son. If you look at his game, he has an amazing game and an amazing attacking style, but he does not take a lot of shots on target, so that really eliminates the possibility of goals. Next, the wait, I'll have to report this guy. Sorry. Yes. Next, if you look at Bruno, his most involvement is through crosses and through assists. So yeah, if you're looking at assist, you can bring him. But I might want to watch Manchester United's form against the lower sides in the couple of game weeks and then bring in Bruno. Whereas the next replacement for Sun is Martial. I think Martial is going to perform this game week and the next one too. I know United might score only one or two goals, but I think it's going to be Martial who's going to score those goals. So a very big replacement for Sun could be Martial and not Bruno. YOLO Gamer 3D, hi. When did you remove all City players? YOLO Gamer, we discussed my transfers. For this game week, I made two transfers. I took out Kevin De Bruyne for Mane and Aurier for Bolly. I did the Kevin De Bruyne move solely based on the fact that I think Leicester is going to perform really well against City, and he has a blank gaming next game week. So in game week 29, if they have a double game week, I might want to bring Kevin De Bruyne back instead of Salah or Mane, depending on their performance. Did Son and Firmino to Mane and Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Was it a good move or a sideway move? It was a great move, Matthew Paul. I would really appreciate that move. It would have perfectly fit in your budget. Maybe instead of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Jimenez would have been better, but nevertheless, it's a great move. Oisin, there is a website honestly, but it's not that accurate. It's the FPL statistics website. It is owned by the FPL official FPL site as well. But they're not that accurate. That gives you an idea, but not necessarily that those are always true. YOLO gamer, yes, Mahrez is likely to play tomorrow. So yeah, Matthew Paul, if you already have him in as an Ings, so Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a great shout. Continuing with the Sun replacements, next I have Richarlison. Richarlison is an underdog. Yes, if you look at his fixtures are not great. But if you look at the attacking form of Everton and in general the form of Everton and Richarlison, they have been amazing. They have been amazing on the press. They have been amazing on the counter attack. And I think Richarlison is an amazing header of the ball. He could be really threatful on the corners and set pieces, and I would really like to keep him for another couple of game weeks, especially till Chelsea and the Liverpool fixture. Maybe then transfer him out, but let's see. It depends on how Liverpool performs in the FA Cup. Euro Gamer says 90 minutes for Mahrez or less. That depends on Pep really, and also they have a fixture against Real Madrid in midweek next week. So I think it's going to be a bit less, but nevertheless, he's going to start at least. So the major replacements in my mind would be also a last replacement for Sun could be Mahrez, but with the Mahrez case is that he might be rotated a lot, and then you might not want to have a player who's rotated a lot. So the best replacements in my mind, in my perspective, are Martial and Richarlison. Those are the best replacements. If you want to go a bit differential, you could go for Tottenham players like Lucas Moura or Bergwijn. I would not suggest Dali Ali. I think Bergwijn is the best out of the lot, and he has been playing amazing. If you look at the Tottenham UCL game, you'll realize how creative and how in the box he was. And I think if someone is going to score for Tottenham this week against Chelsea, is going to be Bergwijn. Abhishek says Lundstrom replacement. Abhishek, if you want a replacement for Lundstrom, you could go to any Sheffield United defender, be it Baldock, Stephens, um, Basham. You can. There are a lot of options. You can look at any 5 or 4.5, 4.6 million defender from Sheffield United. Yolo Gamer says, should I play Lundstrom or have Soyuncu as backup and save a transfer, or use my transfer to make Kelly to remove Kelly and play my new player instead of Lundstrom? Eurogamer, if you want to save your transfer for the blank gaming strategy, play Lundstrom, take the risk. There is a possibility that he might start, but nevertheless, if you want to remove him, if you're not going to remove him irrespectively, you just might want to play him. Removing Kelly makes no sense at this point of the game if you're not playing the new player. So might as well play Lundstrom and save the transfer and use it next game week. Here it says Richarlison most likely to play in game week 31 among the popular choices. Yes, yeah, that Everton do not have a fixture, do not have a FA Cup round 5. So yeah, they are not playing. They're definitely playing game week 31. It depends on who wins amongst Tottenham and Norwich. If Norwich lose, the fixture between Norwich and Everton will go ahead. Matthew Paul says Bolly or O'Connell. On my preference, I would prefer Bolly or Cias. In fact, I discussed why Cias is important pre- previously in the start of this video. So you might want to go back to that point and see, look why Cias is more effective and he's more cheap too. But between Wolves and Sheffield, I would go with Wolves. Abhishek, that's a really tough question. Should I play Snodgrass facing Liverpool or Soyuncu facing City? Uh, That's a really tough one, Abhishek. I would play Snodgrass facing Liverpool, but because that essentially allows and confirms you a two-pointer for sure. But with the case of Soyuncu, City thrash them 4-0 or 6-0 or 8-0, it could go into negatives. So I think a definitive two-pointer is better. Maybe Snodgrass puts in a good ball, they head it, and he gets an assist too. So Snodgrass is the pick for me. Long says Soyuncu or Kelly. Soyuncu because Kelly is injured anyways. FPL tips. I gotta go. Best of luck. Catch you from the deadline stream. Making the Marshall early move tomorrow as neither rise or falling. Maybe Marshall is rising. You might want to give it a look. And Matthew says, is there any way to avoid the Salah Mane captain headache, or is it something that has to be faced when getting? Well, honestly, if you have both of them, there's going to be a bit of headache. That's the case when you have a lot of captain options too. But personally, I think when Mane and Salah both are playing, I prefer to go with Mane unless it's a home match. But in this case, I would still go with Mane because he was rested. Salah played the full 90 minutes in the UCL fixture, and I think Mane would perform. And it's my gut feeling. And recently, my gut feeling has been great, so I think it's going to be Mane. I'm going to captain Mane, but on you can select between them on the basis of away and home fixtures. So when you're going home, they have a home fixture, go for Salah. If they have an away fixture, go for Mane. Otherwise, you can switch according to your wish, anyways. YOLO Gamer, we're making a video especially on on the chip strategy, personal chip strategy, and the ideal chip strategy. If you ask me, I'll like to keep it a secret for the video. But the only suggestion we made in the starting of the video is that when you're using wildcard, make sure you use it a couple of game weeks before the bench boost. So if you're planning to use bench boost in game week 37, for suppose, then use your wildcard in game week 35 or 36. That allows you to make a proper playing 15 out there and make the best out of the bench boost chip. Yes, Matthew Paul. Another factor that I take into consideration is what will increase my rank a lot. At this moment, Mane's ownership is around 22%, if I'm not wrong. A maximum of 25, I think. Yeah, it's 21.9. So he definitely is a differential pick. Not many people can possibly captain him because of his ownership, and maybe not will also. So that allows you to increase your rank suddenly to a really large extreme, and I think it's a good move. YOLO Gamer, sure thing. I'll wait to watch the video. Thanks, YOLO Gamer. I hope you liked the recent videos. For everyone watching the live stream right now, we have put in the captain picks video in the description, and also the ultimate guide to the blank game week 28 video in the description. So if any of you have not watched that video, click the link in the description and watch that video. Abhishek says Jimenez, Kevin De Bruyne, Salah, Marshall, Trent Vardy. Choose my captain. It's a dare. I would go with Marshall. I would like to, if you want to take a risk, go with Marshall, or maybe just go with Salah and take that risk too. It's between Marshall and Salah. I leave it up to you because it's not my team, it's your team. So go with Marshall or Salah. Oisin, why would Salah get rotated? I know there's no UCL for them, but there's no need of him to play every match. You realize they're 22 points off in the race for the title, and I think there is no need for Salah to play every match. So him, as Klopp suggested and hinted, there might be some rotations, and I think if there is a rotation, Salah might be the one who could get benched. Yes, Yellow Gamer, we have discussed in a previous live stream. I know you're the FPL guy, and you were talking to me a day ago. Yes, you know, Mr. Long, nobody cares. Actually, we're not even reading your chat, so you might just switch off and go to sleep. And maybe try to respect other people's opinion and other people who are actually putting out good content on Instagram and YouTube. So that's it. I have discussed most of the points I have jotted down for this game week. If someone missed my transfers again, the last time I made two transfers: Kevin De Bruyne out, Aurier out, Bolly in, and Mane in. Now coming to the last question, who's going to be my captain? My captain for this week is going to be Sadio Mane. My vice captain is going to be Mohamed Salah. So that is it from my side. If you have any last minute questions, please ask me. And for personalized team suggestions, do follow us on Instagram at the rate FPL tips underscore underscore and DM us your team. We will surely reply to your team and make sure we give the most apt and personalized suggestions for your for transfer. Abhishek says, thanks, man, Marshall it is. Abhishek, who are you going to captain anyways? The only reason I'm not suggesting Salah, I would have suggested Salah, is that I think it could be a trap and I don't really want people to fall for it. So that's the reason I'm not suggesting Salah, although I don't think Marshall will score more than one goal, but at least he'll score something. Right? Oisin says, thanks, keep up the good work. Thanks, Oisin. Yajal says, Trent captain, it is. Thanks a lot for the stream. Welcome, Yajat. Matthew, welcome, and thank you for joining. Matthew says going for Mane captain too. Glad to hear that, Matthew. Hope our captain picks do well. Abhishek, if you have Salah in mind, go for Salah. Maybe we are wrong, but well, that also if you don't captain Salah and he scores a lot of goals, then you might drop in your rank because his overall ownership is a lot. So not necessarily go by our pick, go with your gut feeling. But my gut feeling for the game week is Mane captain and Salah vice captain. Matthew, good luck for the FPL and Chelsea Spurs. I hope to see you online on that match and on Instagram. So that's it from my side, guys. This is FPL Tips signing off.